A roof garden is a garden on the roof of a building. Besides the decorative benefit, roof plantings may provide food, temperature control, hydrological benefits, architectural enhancement, habitats or corridors for wildlife, recreational opportunities, and in large scale it may even have ecological benefits. The practice of cultivating food on the rooftop of buildings is sometimes referred to as rooftop farming. Rooftop farming is usually done using green roof, hydroponics, aeroponics or air-dynaponics systems or container gardens. History: humans have grown plants atop structures since antiquity. The ziggurats of ancient Mesopotamia had plantings of trees and shrubs on above-ground terraces. An example in Roman times was the Villa of the Mysteries in Pompeii, which had an elevated terrace where plants were grown. A roof garden has also been discovered around an audience hall in Roman Byzantine Caesarea. The medieval Egyptian city of Fustot had a number of high-rise buildings that Nasir Khosrow in the early 11th century described as rising up to 14 stories, with roof gardens on the top story complete with ox-drawn water wheels for irrigating them. Among the seven wonders of the ancient world, the hanging gardens are often depicted as tall structures holding vegetation. Even immense trees. Environmental impact. Roof gardens are most often found in urban environments. Plants have the ability to reduce the overall heat absorption of the building, which then reduces energy consumption. The primary cause of heat buildup in cities is insulation, the absorption of solar radiation by roads and buildings in the city and the storage of this heat in the building material and its subsequent re-radiation. Plant surfaces, however, as a result of transpiration, do not rise more than 4-5 degrees Celsius above the ambient and are sometimes cooler. This then translates into a cooling of the environment between 3.6 and 11.3 degrees Celsius, depending on the area on Earth. The study was performed by the University of Cardiff. A study at the National Research Council of Canada showed the differences between roofs with gardens and roofs without gardens against temperature. The study shows temperature effects on different layers of each roof at different times of the day. Roof gardens are obviously very beneficial in reducing the effects of temperature against roofs without gardens. If widely adopted, rooftop gardens could reduce the urban heat island, which would decrease smog episodes, problems associated with heat stress and further lower energy consumption. Aside from rooftop gardens providing resistance to thermal radiation, rooftop gardens are also beneficial in reducing rain runoff. A roof garden can delay runoff. Reduce the rate and volume of runoff. As cities grow, permeable substrates are replaced by impervious structures such as buildings and paved roads. Stormwater runoff and combined sewage overflow events are now major problems for many cities in North America. A key solution is to reduce peak flow by delaying or retaining runoff. Rooftop gardens can delay peak flow and retain the runoff for later use by the plants. Urban agriculture, see urban agriculture. In an accessible rooftop garden, space becomes available for localized small-scale urban agriculture, a source of local food production. An urban garden can supplement the diets of the community it feeds with fresh produce and provide a tangible tie to food production. At Trent University, there is currently a working rooftop garden which provides food to the student CAFR copyright and local citizens. Available gardening areas in cities are often seriously lacking, which is likely the key impetus for many roof gardens. The garden may be on the roof of an autonomous building which takes care of its own water and waste. Hydroponics and other alternative methods can expand the possibilities of rooftop gardening by reducing, for example, the need for soil or its tremendous weight. Plantings in containers are used extensively in rooftop gardens. Planting in containers prevents added stress to the roof's waterproofing. One high-profile example of a building with a roof garden is Chicago City Hall. For those who live in small apartments with little space, square-foot gardening, or green walls can be a solution. These use much less space than traditional gardening. These also encourage environmentally responsible practices, eliminating tilling, reducing or eliminating pesticides, and weeding, and encouraging the recycling of wastes through composting. Importance to urban planning. Becoming green is a high priority for urban planners. The environmental and aesthetic benefits to cities is the prime motivation. It was calculated that the temperature in Tokyo could be lowered by 0.11 euro 0.84 degrees Celsius if 50% of all available rooftop space were planted with greenery. This would lead to a savings of approximately 100 million yen. Singapore is very active in green urban development. Roof gardens present possibilities for carrying the notions of nature and open space further in tall building development. When surveyed, 80% of Singapore residents voted for more roof gardens to be implemented in the city's plans. Recreational reasons, such as leisure and relaxation, beautifying the environment, and greenery in nature, received the most amount of votes. Planting roof gardens on tops of building is a great way to make city more efficient. Roof garden versus green roof. A roof garden can be distinguished from a green roof, although the two terms are often used interchangeably. The term roof garden is well suited to roof spaces that incorporate recreation, entertaining, and provide additional outdoor living space for the building's residents. It may include planters, plants, dining and lounging furniture, outdoor structures such as pergolas and sheds, and automated irrigation and lighting systems. Although they may provide aesthetic and recreational benefits, a green roof is not necessarily designed for this purpose. A green roof may not provide any recreational space and be constructed with an emphasis towards improving the insulation or improving the overall energy efficiency and reducing the cooling and heating costs within a building. Green roofs may be extensive or intensive. The terms are used to describe the type of planting required. The panels that comprise a green roof are generally no more than a few inches up to a foot in depth, since weight is an important factor when covering an entire roof surface. The plants that go into a green roof are usually stem or other shallow-rooted plants that will tolerate the hot, dry, windy conditions that prevail on most rooftop gardens. With a green roof, the plant's layer can shield off as much as 87% of solar radiation, while a bare roof receives 100% direct exposure. The planters on a roof garden may be designed for a variety of functions and vary greatly in depth to satisfy aesthetic and recreational purposes. These planters can hold a range of ornamental plants, anything from trees, shrubs, vines, or an assortment of flowers. As aesthetics and recreation are the priority, they may not provide the environmental and energy benefits of a green roof. Planting on rooftops can make urban living more self-sufficient and make fresh vegetables more accessible to urban people. Science of gardening. The related idea of a living machine is based on the most basic cycle of gardening, using wastes, appropriately broken down, usually in some specialized container, on the soil, and harvesting food which, when processed, generates biodegradable waste, and when eaten, generates sewage. In most of the world, this kind of very tight closed-loop gardening is used, despite certain health risks if necessary precautions are not taken. Composting human or pet waste should achieve thermophilic conditions and age for at least a year before being used. In popular culture, American jazz singer Al Jarreau composed a song named Roof Garden. Apnahasapima Petalon of the TV show The Simpsons has a rooftop garden visited by Paul McCartney and his wife. In BBC's 1990 television miniseries House of Cards, the main character, MP Frances Urquhart, murders journalist Mattie Storin by throwing her off of the Palace of Westminster's rooftop garden. Gallery. See also. References. External links: Kensington Roof Gardens Guest List, The New York Times article about rooftop garden in Manhattan.